One of my favorite ways of experiencing a culture when traveling is to try the local foods and drinks. And when you come to Hungary, you can try many tasty dishes. But what should you drink along with them? Well, if you enjoy drinking wine, then you'll definitely love Hungary, as we have some really delicious wines and many unique wine regions across the country. But when you open a menu at a restaurant or a wine bar, you may be overwhelmed with the many choices. So in this video, we'll try to help with the different wine regions and the types of wine they produce. Here's a map of the different areas of the country where wine is produced. Now, it would be very excessive to cover them all one by one, so we'll just focus on some of the major clusters. It's also important to note that I am not a wine expert. I'm just a wine enthusiast. I love exploring the different wines the country has to offer, so if you want to dig deeper into the local wines, perhaps try to visit a winery in the countryside where you can learn more about the different grapes, the drinks, and the culture surrounding this delicious drink. Let's start with one of the most prominent regions of Hungary, the Villány wine region. This southern area of the country produces some of the best quality wine, especially if you are into red wine. It was also one of the oldest wine-producing regions, dating back to Roman times. However, during the socialist times in Hungary, the local production was pushed to the brink of extinction. But over the past few decades, thanks to the dedication of local multi-generational producers, this place became one of the top wine regions of Hungary. And thanks to the unique shape of the Villány mountain range that produces a special local microclimate and the mineral-rich soil, the wine produced here is excellent. And it's hard to go wrong with choosing a wine from Villány in any restaurant. One of the local specialties is Cabarnet Frank, which is primarily dominant in France, but found itself a new home in the soil of Villány as well. So if you love some deep and rich reds, I'm sure whichever wine you may choose from the region, you'll absolutely enjoy it. Now, in case you are more into white wine, then the region around Lake Balaton may be more interesting for you. Hungary used to be under the so-called Pannonhalma Sea millions of years ago, and this has led to unique minerals being deposited in the soil under our feet. And Lake Balaton is the remnant of this sea, and this area was also very active geologically. You can see many mountains in this area that are the remains of these geological activities, and one of the most known is the Badacsony. This mix of minerals from the depths of the earth and from the time a sea was covering the ground has led to some excellent conditions for wine production. A prominent grape of the region is the Olasz Riesling, or Welsh Riesling, that makes a nice and easy, floral and fruity white wine. However, if you want to try some very unique local wines, then you should look out for ones that are produced from kéknyelű or szürkebarát. This area is actually one of my favorite regions to visit, even though I mostly enjoy red wine, but going for a hike into the mountains and hopping from cellar to cellar, and in the end enjoying a quick swim in the nearby lake, makes this area full of exciting adventures. Now let's look at an area that not only has excellent wine, but it is also important in the history of Hungary. Eger is located east from Budapest. Nestled between the hills and mountains, it became famous during the Ottoman conquest towards Western Europe. Eger is a castle town, and its heroes have held back the Ottoman army from advancing further north and capturing more resource-rich territory. According to legends, the captain of the castle has ordered the defenders to paint their beards and clothes red, with red wine, so that the Turkish army believed they drank the blood of the bulls to become strong like a bull. The reality is that at the time of the Ottoman invasion, mostly white wine was produced in the region, but over centuries, red wine also became a local specialty. And perhaps it's thanks to this legend that one of the most known cuvées of the area is the Egri Bikavér, or Bulls Blood of Eger. Now, there is another wine region in Hungary that is also famous for a cuvée also called Bulls Blood, but we'll talk about that later. Eger is also high on my list when it comes to favorite regions. The wine is nice, especially the high-quality Bikavér, which is a full-bodied cuvée that's really good, But the combination of having a historic castle town, along with the castle ruins, the nature being close, and an area full of cellars where you can hop from one place to another, try top quality wine at one of the cellars, and then try some very simple but still tasty and cheap wines in a hole in the wall. It all combines together to an excellent experience. Now, if you're looking for a truly local specialty, then right in the neighborhood of the previously discussed Eger, you'll have the Tokaj wine region. It is the first region in Hungary that was designated as a wine region, which is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And it is the producer of one of the most well-known Hungarian wines around the globe, the Tokaji Aszú. This is a sweet dessert wine, which is unique to the region, thanks to the climate being ideal for a very special process. Some of the grapes are left on the vines for much longer, which lets a specific bacteria start a noble rotting process. These grapes are then harvested by hand and mixed together with stom or wine, then stored in barrels for several years, depending on the amount of rotten grapes being added to the mix. They became very famous in the 17th century, when the Tokaji Aszú wines also ended up on the tables of Western European noblemen and regents. Louis the Great of France has called this le vin des rois et le roi de vin, which means the wine of kings and the king of wines. And up until this day, we refer to this as the king of wines. It is a very sweet wine with a very, very unique flavor, something you won't be drinking a full bottle of on your own. But it's an ideal companion to a dessert, or you can also pair it with duck or goose. Goose liver and Tokaji Aszú are an excellent pairing, for example. Now, it's important to note that we are only touching the surface in this video. Hungary's wine landscape is deep and rich, and it would take a very long time to discuss all the intricacies of each region and their varieties. But I still hope you find this video useful so far, and if you do, then consider liking the video so we can reach more people on YouTube. And if you want to support what we do even more, you can use the thanks button to donate to us, or you can check out our merch via the link in the description. But you can also become a member of our awesome community by clicking the join button. We appreciate all the support that we get. And now, let's dive back into some more Hungarian wine. I would recommend the next wine region for those who enjoy reds. Szekszárd is a historic area where wine production also dates back to the times when the area was part of the Roman Empire. Emperor Probus was born in the Pannonian province of the empire, and as part of his efforts to make the region prosper, he supported grape cultivation and wine production to be established here. Over time, Szekszárd became known for their deep and rich red wines, and they also have a local cuvee, which is also known as Bulls Blood or Bikavér. Apparently, while the soil has excellent mineral content for the grapes, the cultivation process is more challenging as the soil isn't super stable and can be easily washed away. But thanks to the dedication of the local producers who have been making wine here for several generations, in the end, we can enjoy some excellent red wines. My personal favorites from the region are the Kék Frankos, which is the Blauer Frankish internationally, or the Kadarka, which is a very light and fruity, easy to drink red wine. I personally favor wines from the region, as they are usually more reasonably priced, but the quality is always excellent. The Buda side of the capital city is full of hills and mountains, and centuries ago wine production was prominent in this region. Even on Gellért Hill there used to be vineyards, and the most famous Hungarian sparkling wine from Törlei was also produced from grapes of this area. But as the city of Budapest and the surrounding region has developed, grape cultivation has plummeted, and during the socialist times, wine production fell to an all-time low. However, thanks to the hard work of some determined locals, in the region of Etyek, wine production was brought back to high-quality levels. The region is known for their white wines, made from Chardonnay, Olasz Riesling, or the Király Leányka grapes, which means Little Princess in English. If you're looking for a day trip to a wine region, then Etyek may be an excellent choice to consider, as it is less than an hour away from Budapest by domestic bus. The Sopron wine region is one of the oldest areas where grape was cultivated even before Roman times by the Celtic people living here. It's a less prominent wine region today, however, in my opinion, it is still worthwhile to explore its wine selection. Thanks to the mix of a cooler climate and a unique soil, wines here are generally lower in alcohol content and are simpler, more acidic. White wines are more fruity and red wines are easier to drink. However, I would also highlight some of the interesting towns in the area, like Sopron and Kunság, both of them having old medieval town vibes and are unique places in Hungarian history. So if you're looking for a place where you can explore some cute towns, but also want to dive into tasting locally produced wine, then I would definitely recommend a visit to the Sopron wine region. Now, we can't discuss Hungarian wine without discussing a truly Hungarian way of enjoying this drink, the Fröccs. Soda víz or szikvíz is carbonated water, and its production was perfected in the 19th century by Ányos Jedlik, the Hungarian inventor considered to be the unsung father of the dynamo and the electric motor. He was invited to a wine estate with many prominent people from the time, and some of the drinks were a bit too heavy and flavorful. So Ányos Jedlik used his special soda water container to dilute the wine with the carbonated water, and everyone just loved the outcome. He originally called it the Spritzer, but as it sounded too German and during those times, Hungarians weren't exactly a fan of the German language and culture overtaking their own, they revised it to Fröccs, which kind of means like splash in Hungarian. Fröccs is a very popular way of enjoying especially white wines or rosés, and depending on the ratio of wine to carbonated water, there are so many different varieties of Fröccs. Some of them are simple names like Kis Fröccs, as in small splash, or Nagy Fröccs, as in big splash. But then there are weird ones like Hosszú lépés, or like long step, or Vicceházmester, which is like the deputy housekeeper. Nevertheless, if you visit Hungary during summertime, having a Fröccs can be an excellent way of cooling down during the warm days. And now, let's get back to the rest of the wine regions of Hungary. Close by to the Sopron wine region, there is another interesting area we can talk about, Pannonhalma. It's famous for its magnificent abbey that is located on the top of a hill. While from a geological perspective, the area is not outstanding for grape cultivation. The art of producing wine became prominent here thanks to the Benedictines from the abbey. While there are many local wine producers today, the most famous winery is the one related to the abbey, the Pannonhalmi apátsági borászat. I especially enjoy their Pinot Noir. It's very light, fruity and easy to drink. However, the local Olasz Riesling and other white wine varieties are also highly regarded from the region. So if you see a wine on a menu that is from Pannonhalma, you won't make a mistake if you give it a shot. But I'm really curious if you have tried any Hungarian wine before. What was it like? Or what kind of other wines you generally enjoy? Tell us in the comments below, especially if you have any recommendations for us to try out. Thanks! Not too far from Pannonhalma, you'll find a mountain called Somló, which has its very own wine region. It is very similar to the Badacsony, as the Somló mountain was originally created by volcanic activity. What makes this lonely mountain unique is that the soil is very mixed and varied. Vineyards located close to each other may yield very different results with very different tastes. This makes tasting each wine from the Somló mountain a unique experience, and one of the local variety that I can recommend for you to try is the juhfark. The name translates as sheep's tail, which I find very cute, and it's mainly a mild white wine that's less fruity, but you get to taste a bit of the unique earthy flavors that are created by the volcanic soil. The last area we need to talk about is the largest wine region when it comes to size, the Kunság wine region. Most of Hungary is generally flat, and we call this area the Great Hungarian Plains. The soil here is generally soft and has less structure, and over history, vineyards were usually planted in these areas to bind the sand and make the ground more stable. While wine production dates back to the first kings of Hungary, the drinks created here were generally considered of lower quality, something like the drink of the common folk. But in the past decades, some of the dedicated winemakers of the area have invested significant amount of time and money in improving their cultivation processes and have since been making some high-quality wine that's been winning awards in the country. The Hungarian plains are an important part of our culture and heritage, and having some good quality wines available from the area today is a good way to connect with this historic land of the country that also inspired some of our greatest poets like Sándor Petőfi. And now hopefully, if you want to travel to a wine region to have some delicious tasting adventures, or just want to know what wine to choose from a menu at a restaurant, you'll know what areas of origin to look for and what to expect. And if you want to know what kind of foods to try from the Hungarian culinary world, then check out this video we made about some of the best Hungarian dishes. See you guys in that video or in any of our future videos. Make sure to subscribe to see more awesome content like this. Thanks for watching. Bye!